God is taking you through 5 sacred stages of spiritual awakening. And if you're watching this right now, it's not a coincidence. It's a calling. The pain you've felt, the confusion, the loneliness. It wasn't punishment. It was preparation. You were being stripped, purified, and reshaped into the divine version of yourself. Because before your miracle unfolds, your soul must awaken. And once you reach the final stage, everything changes. The fear fades. The struggle ends. You stop chasing and you start becoming. This is not just a message. It's your divine confirmation. God is awakening something inside you that can no longer be silenced. So stay until the end, because in the next few minutes, you're going to discover the 5 stages of spiritual awakening that will completely shift your reality and help you step into your higher purpose. If this message resonates with your spirit, don't scroll. Hit that like button, subscribe, and let's awaken together. Your transformation starts right now. At first, awakening doesn't feel like a blessing. It feels like everything familiar is collapsing before your eyes. You wake up one day, and the things that once made sense suddenly don't anymore. Your relationships begin to shift. Friendships fade. Your job feels meaningless. Even your dreams, the ones you thought were everything, start to lose their color. It's as if life itself is saying, you can't keep living like this anymore. And that's when you enter the divine disruption. This is the stage where God shakes your foundation, not to break you, but to awaken you. He knows you've built parts of your life on things that were never meant to last, on illusions of control, ego, fear, and false identities. So he begins removing everything that no longer serves your higher purpose. And yes, it hurts. It's confusing. You feel like you're losing everything, but you're not losing your life. You're losing what's blocking your life from flowing. In this stage, your comfort zone becomes uncomfortable. The people who once understood you can no longer relate. Conversations that once felt normal suddenly feel empty. You start questioning, who am I really? What am I doing with my life? Why do I feel like I don't belong here anymore? You may cry, you may rage, you may even beg for answers, and all you hear is silence. But even in that silence, something sacred is happening, because God speaks loudest when everything else goes quiet. This disruption isn't punishment, it's preparation. God is rearranging your reality, piece by piece, so that what's false will fall and what's true will rise. He's saying to you, you've been trying to build your destiny on sand. Let me rebuild you on stone. And that's exactly what he's doing. He's pulling you away from distractions so he can draw you closer to him. He's taking away things that were never truly yours so he can give you what was always meant for you. It's a sacred demolition, the tearing down of an old identity so your soul can finally breathe again. So if everything feels like it's falling apart right now, don't panic. That's not the end of your story. It's the beginning of your awakening. Because every spiritual journey begins with divine chaos. The storm that God allows isn't there to destroy you. It's there to clear the path. Remember this truth. When God removes something, it's only because he's making room for something greater. The storm you're in isn't a punishment. It's a portal. And once you walk through it, you'll never be the same again. After the storm of disruption passes, something inside you begins to shift. The noise quiets down. The chaos starts to make sense. And for the first time, you can see clearly. It's like a fog has lifted from your soul. You're not the same anymore. You start to sense that there's more to life than what the eyes can see or the mind can explain. You begin to feel energies, even in silence. You walk into a room and instantly sense the mood, the vibration, the unspoken truth. You can feel when something aligns with your spirit. And when it doesn't, it's as if your soul is whispering to you, "Wake up, beloved. There's more than what you see." You start questioning everything, your beliefs, your habits, the stories you've been told. You begin to realize that much of what you once accepted as truth was just conditioning, layers of illusion covering your authentic self. And then it begins, the synchronicities. You start seeing repeating numbers like 1111, 222, or 333. Songs play at the perfect moment. Random people say exactly what you needed to hear. It feels like the entire universe is sending you messages, one sign at a time. And it is, because this is God's way of saying, you're no longer asleep. You can see now, but here's the truth. Awakening can be lonely. You start noticing that the conversations you once enjoyed now feel shallow. The people around you might not understand this new awareness. You crave depth, truth, authenticity, and that naturally separates you from the crowd. You start spending more time alone, not out of sadness, but out of sacred necessity, because solitude becomes your teacher. In silence, you start hearing your soul, and within that stillness, a miracle happens. You realize that peace is not found outside of you. It was always within you, waiting to be remembered. The outer chaos no longer controls you, because your inner light is growing stronger. And as your awareness expands, illusions begin to fall away. Once you see truth, real truth, there's no going back, because you now know the world doesn't need to change for you to find peace. You needed to awaken to the peace that's been inside you all along. This is the hardest stage, the one most people fear, and yet the one that transforms you the most. The dark night of the soul is where everything you thought you knew about yourself collapses. Your identity, your faith, your sense of direction, all of it dissolves into silence. It feels as though life has gone dark, as if the universe has forgotten your name. You whisper, "Where is God? Why am I alone?" But the truth is, God is closer than he's ever been. He's just silent, because you're now in his classroom. This stage isn't punishment, it's purification. It's where the light of your soul meets the shadow of your ego, and the two collide until only truth remains. You're being stripped of everything that isn't real. False attachments, toxic identities, pride, control, expectations. It's painful, yes, but the pain is sacred, because pain is the tool God uses to carve you into the person you were always meant to become. You may feel like you're losing everything, but what you're truly losing are the chains that once kept you small. In this darkness, God is whispering, "Do you trust me, even when you can't see me?" And that question echoes through your entire being. This is the death of the old self. And yes, it hurts, because death always does. But just like a caterpillar must dissolve completely before it becomes a butterfly, you too must disintegrate to rise in a new form. The dark night is not the end. It's the sacred middle. It's where your faith is tested, refined, and made unbreakable. And one day, when the light finally returns, and it will, you'll understand why God had to take you through this silence. Because only in the dark do you learn how to see the light. So if you're in the dark night right now, don't give up. You're not being buried, you're being planted. And when you rise again, you'll rise with unshakable faith. The kind of faith that knows, beyond all doubt, who walks beside you. After the long, silent night comes the rising. And when it happens, it doesn't arrive with noise. It comes with peace. A peace that feels different this time. Not the fragile peace you once chased in people or situations, but a deeper, sacred stillness born from within your soul. You've survived the storm. You've walked through the darkness. And now, you've emerged into the light, carrying the wisdom of everything you once thought would break you. This stage feels like resurrection, a spiritual rebirth. The version of you that's standing here now is not the same person who entered the dark night. You've been purified, reshaped, and realigned with your divine truth. Suddenly, everything starts to make sense. The heartbreaks, the losses, the delays, they weren't punishments, they were preparation. You start connecting the dots and realizing every pain was divine training. Every ending was a redirection. Your intuition becomes sharp, almost supernatural. You start receiving what many call downloads, ideas, insights, creative bursts, visions that come from a higher place. And for the first time, you feel pulled towards something bigger than yourself. Maybe it's helping others heal. Maybe it's creating, teaching, building, or spreading light in your own unique way. But deep down, you know, this is your purpose calling. This is the stage of alignment. God starts orchestrating things in ways that feel almost unreal. The right people appear at the perfect time. Doors that were once closed now open effortlessly. It's not luck, it's divine timing. And as this happens, your spirit feels lighter. You move through life with faith instead of fear, because now you understand that when you walk with divine purpose, the universe walks with you. At this point, you don't just believe in miracles, you become one. You radiate a quiet power that draws blessings toward you. You begin living as proof that light can rise after any darkness. This stage teaches you what was once your breaking point has now become your awakening point. You've risen from the ashes, not as who you were, but as who you were always meant to be. This is the highest stage of awakening, the divine union, where the soul finally remembers its truth. You are never separate from God. After all the pain, lessons, darkness, and rebirth, you come home to yourself. Not the self the world created, but the self that God designed, pure, radiant, eternal. At this point, you don't search for God anymore, because you feel God in every heartbeat, every sunrise, every whisper of the wind. You sense the divine presence, not just in prayer, but in laughter, in silence, in your very breath. This stage feels like living in constant grace. Every moment becomes holy. You no longer fight the flow of life. You become the flow. The fears that once ruled you simply dissolve. You don't need to control anything, because you finally trust deeply that the divine is guiding every step. You see purpose even in pain, light even in loss, and miracles even in the ordinary. And now, something incredible begins to happen. Your energy shifts. You start to radiate peace, compassion, and wisdom. People feel calm around you. Opportunities begin to appear effortlessly, not because you're chasing them, but because your vibration attracts them. This is divine magnetism, the point where you and the universe move as one. You're no longer manifesting, you're allowing. You become a channel of light. Through you, others feel hope again. Through your words, others feel God again. And through your presence, others remember who they truly are. This is the sacred completion, the merging of human and divine, body and spirit, earth and heaven. Remember this truth. The goal of awakening isn't to leave the world. It's to illuminate it. You're not escaping reality, you're elevating it. Now, you walk as your higher self, peaceful, powerful, and fully aligned with divine will. You no longer follow the light. You are the light. And wherever you go, darkness can no longer exist. This is divine union, where the journey ends and eternity begins. So now you understand. Every tear, every heartbreak, every dark night, it all had meaning. God wasn't punishing you. He was preparing you. He was peeling away everything that wasn't you, so that your true, divine light could finally shine. Maybe you're still somewhere in the middle of your awakening. Maybe you're in the storm, or maybe you've just started to feel that gentle pull towards something higher. Wherever you are, know this: you are right on time. Every stage you've gone through, from the breaking to the awakening to the rising, has been guiding you back home, to yourself, to the version of you that remembers who you truly are. You are not behind. You are not lost. You are becoming, and as you move forward, you'll notice something shift. You'll stop chasing things that drain you. You'll stop seeking validation from people who can't see your light. You'll begin to trust divine timing, and you'll realize that everything that left your life was never meant to stay. Because now, you walk with faith, not fear. You don't ask when anymore. You simply trust that it will. When you reach the divine union, the final stage, you'll understand that God was with you all along. You'll stop praying for signs, and instead, you'll become the sign. You'll radiate the same light that once guided you through the darkness. So if this message touched your soul, take a deep breath and say this aloud: I'm ready. I trust the process. I am awakening. Don't let this awakening end here. If you feel this in your spirit, hit the like button, subscribe, and share this message so others can find their light too. The world needs your awakened soul. This is your time to rise.